Hey guys, today I want to talk about two different kinds of modifier problems, a dangling modifier and a misplaced modifier. First we need to know what the term revision means, because some of these directions are going to require you to revise a sentence, not just correct it, but actually maybe bring in some of your own words, your own language in order to make the sentence work. It's called revision. So fixing modifier problems often involves rewriting the sentence, not just replacing a word or punctuation mark. So keep that in mind. I'll refer back to that later. Let's start with misplaced modifiers. A modifier, first of all, is just an adjective or an adverb. Think about the two parts of speech that have the AD at the front of it. Add, they're adding information either to nouns or pronouns or to verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Those are modifiers. Now, it's not really necessary that you know the difference between an adjective and an adverb or any part of speech for the ACT. You just need to be able to recognize that there's a problem with the sentence and then know how to fix it. So in a misplaced modifier, you've got a modifier that is causing the sentence to say something wrong because of where it's located in the sentence. So in most of these cases, all you need to do is move the modifier to the right place to make things clear. Here's an example. Now if I just said the sentence, you'd know what I meant, but we're dealing with writing. So look at the sentence and tell me what's wrong with it. Uncle Carmine saw a deer in the field on his way to work. There's a phrase in that sentence that causes a really weird reading of that sentence. The deer was on his way to work. Right? So either in the field or on his way to work needs to move around somehow. And it's that last phrase, on his way to work. Because the last thing that comes before it that could be on his way to work is either a field or the deer. So it's confusing either way. We wanted to modify Uncle Carmine. So we want to move that whole phrase, on his way to work, over to Uncle Carmine. So it could go at the beginning of the sentence. On his way to work, Uncle Carmine saw a deer in the field. Or right after Uncle Carmine. Uncle Carmine, on his way to work, saw a deer in the field. So it's misplaced. We have to move it to where it needs to go. Here's another one. She left her entire fortune to the library, which was valued at $10 million. Now here our modifier that's in the wrong place is an entire clause. It's not just a phrase or a single word. Which was valued at $10 million should modify fortune. So we've got to take that whole clause and put it after fortune. She left her entire fortune, which was valued at $10 million, to the library. Okay, misplaced modifier. Another form of a misplaced modifier is it can be in such a position, usually it's in the middle of a sentence, and it can equally modify two things. And these are even more confusing because whereas these previous two examples, you could figure it out. If you heard somebody say it, you'd know exactly what Carmine was doing and what the deer was doing. Right? You would probably know that it was the fortune valued at $10 million, though that might have been confusing too. These legitimately could be going either way. Here's one. The president said yesterday his opponent spoke honestly. Now we really only have a couple of modifiers in there at all. There's the word yesterday. The word his describes opponent. The word honestly, I think, can only really modify spoke, so there's no confusion there. The word yesterday, it could be saying when the president said it or when his opponent spoke it. It could be going either way. It's a two-way modifier. Now there is no correct revision here. We just have to pick one or the other. So imagine that you're the writer of that sentence. Which way do you want to go? You could put yesterday at the beginning or at the end. That would clear it up. But either interpretation is legitimate. Okay, let's look at another one just like it. What phrase do you see here acts as a modifier, and it could be modifying two possible things? Right, after the game. It could be describing when the manager told or when the pitcher was to report. Two things could happen after the game. We don't know which one because that modifier is stuck in between them. Could be going either way. So again, just move it to the front or the back. That clears it up. Okay, get out your green book. Pause this video if you need to find it, and go to page 690. I'm going to start you off with the first one. I'll help you out. Okay, number 1. Sorry, I gave you the answer. Machiko went outside to trim the bonsai trees with Uncle Saburo. Now this one doesn't sound, this one requires you to really look at it and try to find something wrong with it. But that phrase, with Uncle Saburo, it makes it sound like she might be trimming the bonsai trees and Uncle Saburo. Now if somebody said this sentence to me, it wouldn't be confusing at all. But again, we're trying to make these sentences as correct as possible. So where could it go that would be better? Well, we would want to move it to outside, right? Or to went. You can put it after the word went or after the word outside. Machiko went with Uncle Saburo outside to trim the bonsai trees. That works. Machiko went outside with Uncle Saburo to trim the bonsai trees. Either way, you've got the modifier sliding over to the place that's being modified, to the thing that's being modified. Okay, so as you work through these, look for, it could be an individual word, just a single word. It could be a phrase. I'm not sure if there are longer things than that, but all of these sentences are saying something that is incorrect, and you need to fix it. Move the modifier to where it goes. Okay, stop the video, finish the exercise, and then resume it, and I'll go through 2 through 10. Okay, number 2, I could see the scouts marching over the hill through my binoculars. Okay, it sounds like maybe the scouts are marching through my binoculars. So through my binoculars needs to modify my sing, I sing. So you can put it before the word I. You can put it after the word see. You see what I'm doing here on my little caret thing there? That little upside down V, that's where we're putting it. And that's the phrase that we're moving. Okay, number 3. As a child, my grandfather... Okay, I don't need to read any further. This is a problem. My grandfather taught me, right? Well, if my grandfather was a child, which is what that sentence says, he couldn't be teaching me. So as a child needs to modify me, not my grandfather. And in English, when you have a phrase like that, a modifying phrase at the front of the sentence, it modifies whatever follows it. This is important because the dangling modifier, which we're going to do next, deals with just that idea. So as a child needs to go to after me. My grandfather taught me as a child how to make tortillas. Okay, number 4. One advertiser handed out roses to customers with dollar bills pinned to them. Hopefully this is obvious, right? What does it say that's wrong? That the customers had dollar bills pinned to them. Alright, so that's got to move. Oh, hang on. That's not what we move. Okay, if we just move that, we'd end up with another problem. And that is the thing with misplaced modifiers. Be careful of where you move it to. You may create a different sort of a problem. Because if we just put with dollar bills pinned to them right after roses, then to customers is sort of off on its own. But you could take to customers and put it right after the word out. One advertiser handed out to customers roses with dollar bills pinned to them. That makes sense. Okay, number 5. I borrowed a radio from my sister with a weather band. Okay, it sounds like my sister has a weather band, whatever that means. Weather band's got a modified radio, so we want to move it. I borrowed a radio with a weather band from my sister. I borrowed... Okay, what I just said will work fine. When I actually did this, I came up with another revision. I borrowed from my sister a radio with a weather band. Which one do I like more? Let me think. I borrowed a radio with a weather band from my sister. I like the second one, I guess. I borrowed from my sister a radio with a weather band. Yeah, that works. Either one of them works. Either one of them clears it up. And again, with these revision answers, you may come up with something completely different. As long as it solves the problem, That's all that matters. And the dangling modifiers are going to be even more so because you have to bring in your own language to fix it. But we'll get to that later. Number 6. Did you look for a collection of hats worn by your grandmother in the attic? Okay, so hats were worn by grandmother. In the attic is where I looked, and that's they're far away, right? They're at the opposite ends of the sentence. So we probably need to move in the attic to after look. Did you look in the attic for blah blah? Yep, that's it. Okay, number 7. Our cat was waiting on the front porch for us to come home patiently. Now, it's possible that the cat was waiting for us to come home patiently, but more likely it's that the cat was waiting patiently on the front porch. So we need to move patiently over to what it modifies, which is the word waiting. Now you could put it in front of the word waiting. That would work too, as long as it's modifying that word. Number 8. She ate 2 peaches and a plate of strawberries watching TV. The strawberries were watching TV. Wow, that's amazing. Oh no, she was watching TV. Okay, so we need to move watching TV over to her. She, watching TV, ate 2 peaches. That's clumsy. What if we put watching TV right in front of she? Watching TV, she ate 2 peaches and a plate of strawberries. That works. Okay, number 9. In a tank at the aquarium, unless we are in the tank at the aquarium, that sentence is already wrong. Because remember, modifiers at the beginning modify whatever comes right after it. The seals were in the tank at the aquarium. So you probably just take that phrase, move it to the back. We watched the seals play in the tank at the aquarium, right after the word play. Number 10. We gave the boxes of cereal to the children with prizes inside. Okay, this sentence says that the children have prizes inside them. That's weird. Cereal could, though. So with prizes inside, put right after cereal. Okay, so in most of these cases, all we're doing is shifting a phrase or a word around to clear up the sentence so that it says what it means to say. Move on to the next one, dangling modifiers. Wow, this is getting long. It's going to be a long video. A dangling modifier, similar. This is a modifier at the beginning of a sentence that needs something to modify. There's nothing right after it to modify. And oftentimes there's nothing in the sentence at all. So it's just sort of hanging out there with nothing attached to it. Like this. While wrapping gifts, my cat kept attacking the ribbons. That's a classic dangling modifier. Because what the sentence says is that my cat was wrapping gifts. Right? So we know that modifier is not doing what it's supposed to do. It's dangling because there is no person in that sentence who could be wrapping gifts. There's no I. There's no human being at all in that sentence. So we would have to revise it in such a way that we've got somebody in there. Now, for our purposes, what I'm going to have you do on this exercise coming up is we're going to leave the phrase exactly as it is at the front and then force the rest of the sentence to fit it. Which means in this case we would have to say, while wrapping gifts, I. Now, how do you finish the sentence with the word I? You'd have to make up some stuff. It's called revising. While wrapping gifts, I was annoyed that my cat kept attacking the ribbons. I was entertained as my cat kept attacking the ribbons. Now we're adding some meaning here that maybe the original didn't intend, but that's the problem with dangling modifiers, is that there's not enough stuff in there, so you can't always tell what the intention is. As long as you're fixing it, that's good. Okay, does everybody see that in English this sentence says my cat is wrapping gifts? That's the key piece. This is what you'll see on the ACT. And on the ACT, the choices will leave while wrapping gifts in all of them, and you just have to look for the one that has the I, or the person who could be wrapping gifts after it. We've seen this a couple of times already. How about this one? Having selected a college, a trip to the campus was our next step. Same idea. If somebody said that, I would know exactly what they mean, but it's a written sentence, and I don't see anybody in that sentence who could select a college. So it's a dangling modifier. It's at the front of the sentence, no person. So we'd have to do the same thing. We'd have to bring somebody in. Having selected a college, we decided that a trip to the campus was our next step. I said we because there is a clue that it's a we. Right, the word our. Just like there's a clue that it was an I, because of the word my. Now it could have been somebody else doing the wrapping and my cat was attacking the ribbons. It doesn't really matter as long as it fixes the problem. Okay, so in that second one, what the sentence says is that a trip was selecting a college. This one's a little bit different. This is actually a misplaced modifier, but it looks a lot like a dangling modifier because it does the same thing. What does this sentence say that's weird or wrong? The sentence says that the storm was unafraid of the danger. Keep reading though. There is somebody in that sentence who could be unafraid of the danger. That's the word crew. So we leave unafraid of the danger and then put in the crew. Now how do we finish it? Unafraid of the danger, the crew did not let the storm keep them from changing sails. I just did that kind of on the fly, but it works. That revision works. Not necessarily the only one that works, but as long as I've got the crew in there and the rest of the sentence makes sense, then we're good. Okay. Flip backwards one page, 688, exercise 9. I'm going to have you do two things. Number one, do what I just did orally, which is to identify what the sentence is saying that's wrong or strange. That's step one. Step two, revise the sentence. We want to leave the introductory modifier exactly as it is and revise it from that point on. Now one of these sentences is fine the way it is. I'm not going to tell you which one. Let's do the first one together, just so you know what you're doing. Okay, number one says walking through the main gate, comma. And what's it saying that's strange? Well, it says that the swimming pool is walking through the main gate. Swimming pools do not walk. But that's what that sentence says. So in that blank, after the intro phrase, we need a person. Now there's the word your, so it sounds like it's like directions that are being given to somebody. So walking through the main gate, you will see the swimming pool, see that the swimming pool lies on your right. You will run into the swimming pool which lies on your right. Okay, you can finish it however you want to, as long as you're maintaining what the sentence is trying to say as closely as you can, and you've got the word you in that blank. Walking through the main gate, you. It's got to be somebody there that can actually walk, not swimming pool. Okay. Avoid using the same subject more than twice. So I don't want to see a bunch of yous in that blank after the phrase. Use your imagination, come up with other things. It doesn't even have to be a pronoun. It just needs to be somebody or something that can be modified by that opening phrase. And all of these sentences have an opening phrase. And these will require revision. So you're going to have to put together a sentence that works. Okay, I'll go over this. So go ahead and pause the video, work through exercise 9, and then resume it. All right, let's look at review. Let's review exercise 9. Listen carefully as I walk through some possible revisions. Yours may be completely different. The key concept here is that whatever is in that position to the right of the opening modifier can be modified. Okay, so number 2, lost, comma. The small village was not lost, right? It was a welcome sight to whoever was lost, but the village was not lost. So what that sentence is saying that's strange is that the village was lost. So how do we fix it? Lost, we found the small village to be a welcome sight. We were welcomed at the site of the small village. We saw the small village and were welcomed by it. So you can go a lot of different directions here, so long as you've got somebody. Probably, I mean, it doesn't have to be a we, it could be a they, it could be Bob and Sally, it could be the youth group, whatever, somebody who could be lost. Okay, number 3. To earn spending money, mother. So this is saying that mother was earning spending money by giving me a job. That doesn't make sense. It should be I in there. To earn spending money, I addressed envelopes for my mother. There's one way to do it. Number 4, after studying hard, a long walk. Okay, so a walk was studying hard. New. We need a person in there. After studying hard, you may find a long walk can be refreshing. Students enjoy a long walk, a long, refreshing walk. Okay, number 5. While walking in the woods, the sound. Okay, the sound was walking in the woods. That doesn't work. We need people. While walking in the woods, we enjoyed the experience of listening to the sound of singing birds. I put a we in there, and I made it work from that point on. Number 6. This says that little words understand the meaning of a sentence. All right, we need people. To understand the meaning of a sentence, you will find that even the little words can be important. Now, I'm breaking my own rule, aren't I? I think I've used more than 2 yous in these examples. Sorry, I'll try to be more creative. Number 7, to become a great athlete, well, that's correct as it is, so that doesn't count. So 7 is the correct one. Number 8, standing on the beach, the students watched as a school of dolphins suddenly appeared. Students could stand on the beach. Number 9, after winning the last game of the season, the team celebrated all night. That works. Number 10, tired and sore, the girls finally finished the job. So I have to invent when we revise, when we have these dangling modifiers. You need to invent to fix them. There's nothing wrong with that. But remember, this is all about the ACT. And the ACT is for sure going to test you on this knowledge. Okay. What else we have? I think I may have one more. Review C on page 692 mixes them together. So now you've got misplaced and dangling together. So do the same 2 steps that we did for the dangling modifiers. Number 1, if the sentence is saying something strange as it's written, tell me. And then 2, revise the sentence to fix it. Okay, take a minute, and then we'll go over that. Okay, we're going to do this the same way. I'm just going to do it orally because there are too many possibilities. Number 1, awaking from a nap, the island of Puerto Rico. Okay, that should be obviously wrong, right? The island of Puerto Rico awoke from a nap. That's weird. Okay, now it's my airplane window, so I'm going to put an I in there. Awaking from a nap, I watched as the island of Puerto Rico came into view through my airplane window. Number 2, our guide was waiting to take us to our hotel inside the airport terminal. Okay, the hotel was probably not inside the airport terminal. So let's move. I haven't done these yet, so I'm going to do them as I'm looking at it right now. I've never seen this exercise before. Inside the airport terminal, maybe waiting. Our guide was waiting inside the airport terminal to take us to our hotel. There we go. Number 3, to understand the guide's Spanglish dialect, some knowledge of both Spanish and English proved to be helpful. Okay, there's no one in that sentence that's understanding the guide's Spanglish dialects. This is a dangling modifier. In fact, it says that the knowledge understands the guide's Spanglish dialect. That doesn't work. To understand the guide's Spanglish dialect, we found that knowledge of both Spanish and English proved to be helpful. I put a we in there. Driving along the panoramic route, the scenery was breathtaking. Okay, the scenery was driving. That's bad. Driving along the panoramic route. Now, I'm going to use we for a lot of these only because it sounds like this is one paragraph that's talking about a particular event or experience of the same people. So driving along the panoramic route, we thought the scenery was breathtaking. We saw breathtaking scenery. Either one. Okay, number 5. We stopped for lunch at a stall along the road that was made from palm branches. Wow, a palm branch road. That'd be cool. Oh, no, wait. It's the stall that's made of palm branches. How do we fix that? We stopped for lunch along the road at a stall that was made from palm branches. Okay, that works. I kind of had to switch 2 phrases around. I moved 2 of them. Okay, how about 6? Hungry, comma. Okay, I know what this is. Anytime you've got a little modifier with a comma after it at the beginning, you can bet it's a dangling modifier. And we're right here. Rice and beans could not be hungry. But tourists could. Or we could. Or I could. Hungry, the tourists ate delicious spicy rice and beans. Number 7. We bought souvenir rocks from a young boy decorated with island scenes. Huh. Now maybe it's possible that the young boy was tattooed with island scenes, but let's assume it's the rocks. So we bought from a young boy souvenir rocks decorated with island scenes. There we go. Number 8. Look at that strange fish in the water that is puffing up. Okay, the sentence has water puffing up. That's bad. Look at the strange fish that is puffing up in the water. That works. Look in the water at that strange fish that is puffing up. That kind of works too, but probably in the water is going to modify fish rather than look. Okay, 9. Anxious to shower and unpack. Okay, we need people in the next spot, but we have hotel room, so there's a problem. We determined that our hotel room was the next stop. Number 10. To fully appreciate all the island had to offer, comma, we needed more time. The students needed more time. The tourists needed more time. I needed more time. We need a person after that comma. Okay, get it? These dangling modifiers. You've got an intro idea at the beginning of a sentence. It's modifying whatever comes after it. The thing that comes after it needs to be modifiable. If that makes sense. Okay, I think that is it.